From New York, it's That Kevin Show.
See, I knew it.
Come on, Kev. What's a few classified documents between friends?
I told you all the time. I knew it. I knew he had some too.
Here he is, That Kevin McCullough.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, very excited to have my next guest back with me, though he's been on my radio product many, many times. This is his first time to join us here on the Salem News Channel, though he's been on some of the other shows. But he's someone who has a great appreciation for the difficulty of the rigors of the Beltway, given his long history with the Republican Party and the Trump administration. But he's also someone who's been spent a lot of time in media, television, even danced with some stars at one point in time. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together and welcome Sean Spicer. Hello, Sean.
I'm well. Thanks for having me.
It's good to have you. So I gotta cut straight to the chase here, man. I wrote a piece in Town Hall last week, and I don't know Karine Jean-Pierre at all. So
that makes two of us.
Just knowing her as a person, I don't have any feel for who she is in person. I don't like her stances on things and some of the things she's spoken out about. John Kirby, to me, seems to be a guy that is just kind of, I don't know. There's something about him that it just gives me the icks. These two and several other spokespeople for the administration for the last 2 weeks, I have felt immense sadness for, because they continue to have to come out and not answer questions when their job is to actually answer questions, because they don't want to talk about the things that the press is finally asking about. I mean, you had James Rosen actually read the entire WhatsApp text into the record, into the White House briefing one day, and you could just tell Karine Jean-Pierre, I mean, she may be an ideologue, but I don't think that these people are sycophants. And I'm curious, as a former press secretary, how much do you think they're hurting right now?
Well, there's two aspects to the question. How much is beyond their capability, meaning they're being told this is how you have to respond, and then how much are they creating it? Kirby, I don't think so much. He's very adept at saying, I'm not going to discuss this. I'm not going to.
He just packs up and leaves. That's what.
You're right. But Jean-Pierre, so you take, for example, the cocaine at the White House. They misled the public on two separate times. One, they started off telling people it was in the West Wing lobby and there was a highly trafficked area. That's not true. It was in the West Executive entrance, which is not a highly trafficked area. It's the entrance the vice president and others use. It's right outside the Situation Room. Then secondly, she said that the president and the first family weren't in the White House, and she chastised reporters by saying it was irresponsible journalism to say that someone from the first family could be involved. I have my own take on this, but the point is, she created that situation. She said they weren't there. The pool report shows that they didn't leave till 6:24 on Friday night. Now, but my point is that she will say, I'm not addressing it from this podium or this or that, when she had previously done it. So she digs herself into a hole. And then, so that part is painful to watch. I think Kirby is much more adept at just blanketly saying, I'm not going to discuss that, or that's been addressed before, and move on. Well, and they buy it more from him because he says it, I think, with a little bit more adeptness and authority.
Well, I've noticed that, and this has gone on in the back of my head, and I've known quite a few of you guys that have held that position. I knew you, I knew Sarah Sanders, I knew Kayleigh McEnany, all on personal levels. I knew Tony Snow, I knew Ari Fleischer. I've known people that have been in this position for a long time. I know that there's a life beyond the White House. And so you kind of have to wonder, do these people, when they are in this, and again, I agree with you, Jean-Pierre comes out and says, well, the Secret Service is going to handle it. But let me tell you something you didn't ask for. The first family was gone all weekend. Like, right. There is a style to how she isn't going to comment that she then comments greatly on. But it seems to me that, and I'm wondering if you sense that there's a possibility that the Biden, the bulwark around Biden is starting to weaken a bit, because, Sean, there are so many of these things now. You have the FBI documents, you've got the WhatsApp screenshot, you've got the cocaine that nobody can explain, and somebody's going to have to at some point in time. And there just continues to be this drip. And of course, oversight over at Congress, Comer and those guys, they're all sitting there going, wait, what? Let's have a talk with some of those people. Come on over. I mean, where do you sense going into an election cycle? Imagine you're trying to manage a campaign for re-election. Are some of these people are the rats going to jump ship?
Look, I think we've seen this in the last couple of cycles. Democrats will vote for whomever's on the ballot. You've got an 80-plus-year-old man that can.
No, I'm talking about the staffers. Will he begin to see exits by people?
I mean, it's a good question. I think that, again, this is what I'm getting at, though, is that they look at these people, John Fetterman, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, as vessels to achieve their goals, a more progressive world. I mean, it's not like the thing that I find funny getting back, this to fuse your question for a second to the last thing. The one question that I don't think anyone in the press briefing room ever asked Corinne Jean-Pierre that I think is crucial is, when was the last time you spoke to the president? So what I mean by that is, that gets to your question. When I was press secretary, when Sarah was, I even know when Josh Earnest was, when I did the turnover, I would, he had time with Obama. And Ari, I know from talking to Ari and Dana and a bunch of the predecessors that I had that I spoke to, I don't ever get the sense that these guys talk to Biden. And that gets to the point of what you're getting at, which is they're not there. They're there for the cause,
right? The
cause of doing checking all these boxes. And so it's not about, gosh, do we want to stay to, Joe, what are Joe's chances? Or they don't really care. To them, this is a vessel and it's moving. And so I think that's the bigger issue on the left, is that to them, the people on the ballot don't matter. The people in the office don't matter. They're all vessels. Dianne Feinstein. They all defended her when it was blatantly obvious that she's not there, because they don't care about the person holding the office. They care about the vessel that gets them further down the road to implement the agenda.
We're speaking with Sean Spicer, who is a former press secretary for President Donald J. Trump, and he's involved in a lot of entrepreneurial excitement right now. You need to visit it all at SeanSpicer.com, SeanSpicer.com. His latest musings, his books, everything that you want to know about what he's doing, SeanSpicer.com, all one word. Sean, when we come back, we are already in the throes of the election cycle. It looks like some things have changed, and yet it looks like a lot hasn't. I'm just curious, not as a former press secretary, but as a former RNC staffer that, had to get a presidential campaign successfully across the plate. Where do we stand right now with a lot of this? And let me just give you something to think about while we go to the break. If the election were held today, do we have strong enough voter integrity changed since 2020 to satisfy an outcome? And give me your thoughts on that. And how are the campaigns planning, strategizing around that if they happen to be the one that gets the nod from the convention? I don't think it's going to be close. I don't know why it would be, but yet politics is weird. Something different could happen any day now. Kevin McCullough coming from New York. Stay here.
Ready or not, he'll be right back.